Hi, everybody. I am Kate Pollan, a coach, a writer, and a deeply curious human, and this is Hello Void. This series is a collection of unscripted conversations at the intersection of psyche and uncertainty in 2025. I'm sitting down with entrepreneurs, coaches, creatives, healers, thinkers, feelers, really anybody who wants to explore with me what it actually means to be human right now, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, all of us at a time when the world feels increasingly chaotic, contradictory, and wild for overwhelm. So I'm talking with people about how they're making sense of their inner lives, their inner worlds, how they're learning to live alongside emotional pain and uncertainty, and what they've noticed in the people that they've worked with too. And all of this is because being human is not a solo experience. It's relational. It's bittersweet. It's joy and grief, expansion and fear, doubt and wonder, all sitting side by side. So today I am talking with Shelby. And to start us off, just tell me about you and why you said yes to having this conversation with me today.
Beautiful. Thank you and your audience for hearing our voices here. My name is Shelby Mott. I founded what's called Genuine Human Beings company 2 years ago. That was to reactivate Earth as a living library and restore humanity back to the forefront of creation. Through
Beautiful.
my own spiritual evolution of coming in as a starseed, kind of heightened awareness and being domesticated through society, such as don't tell them about the blue beans in the basement or only tell them about Bambi. That's real. Santa Claus is real, but not the people you know from Pleiades. Don't talk about that. So I got domesticated. And I went through the series of having, really stellar high school degree, college, was a Marine officer. So I was just in the matrix performing, got a
Yep.
master's degree in IT and just, got the six-figure salary tweaker job and raised a family, three kids, one woman. And I realized as I got to the point of working with these people that were just all about money and capitalism that I found myself being a diversion. And it was that time that I realized that I had an antithesis to energy that I call putting profit over people and money over nature, or misdiagnosing in terms of the medical and education career. So doctors are just prescribing pain instead of prescribing solutions.
Yep.
So I was like, hey, I'm different. And so I went inner standing in 2012 where I found out that that we were not going to blow up the world and that Mayans were about the restart of a new age of Aquarius. I jumped in, found a lot of things about myself, such as my galactic signature. I found out my Enneagram type, my human design, and actually goes important to what you're saying. I'm a human design reflector. And what that means, ladies and gentlemen, that's 1% of the planet. And I vibrate on the environment. It's not that I'm here to judge, but I'm definitely here to reflect the straight up truth. I
Hmm.
keep it 100% spiritual integrity. So as a result of establishing that company for boot camps and counseling and coaching, understanding I also have a gift from Creator. So Jesus has parables and he had his scriptures. Muhammad had surahs that they memorized. Well, what I download comes from Creator, Prime Creator. I have songs. I've done 360 songs that are first takes every one. And they talk about the spirit of duality and equality and acceptance. We're only strong as our weakest link. There's no I in team. When I do what we want, I'm happy. If I do what I want, I might get vetoed. And so I'm all about the collaboration, cooperation of using more than 15% of our brains and being galactic. And that's why my singing handle is called 215 Galactic. The 215 is my Mayan galactic signature, blue resident eagle. And galactic is because I'm building 100 billion galaxies of information.
Okay. That's excellent. And you touched on this a little bit, but I'm going to ask you this question in these straight up words to see if it sparks anything else for you. Tell me, how has your understanding of what it means to be human changed in the past few years, emotionally, spiritually, just in general?
So it was a really important thing to what I call consume dualistic thoughts as food.
Hmm.
So I had to go inside and learn to embrace my shadows, to
Yep.
release the gift of who I am as a genuine human being, that I am a starseed resurrected. We are all God, we have just forgotten. And now I'm in the process of creating what's called the CD, which is the frequency of the piece of my genre. And so now I'm able to be my starlight, shine my bright versus having regrets or resentments.
That's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful. So when you work with people, or just like as you have witnessed, as you have been on this planet and what have you, what emotional patterns or struggles do you see people struggling with the most?
There are two main things that I think the human diaspora is dealing with. First is that they have been misled to believe that we are alone in the universe and the galaxy. That's one of the biggest pains. And as a result of feeling that it's just us, we are isolated from truth,
Hmm.
technology. But at the same time, the biggest thing is this thing called death fear. The fact that we think that there's only one lifetime instead of understanding that we are from eternity, people are messing it up trying to make profit in 1 century. So the death fear of that, I gotta just get money. I just gotta get that. And then when you're happy, like, well, what do you do with all that? You're not happy. And a lot of people in corporate I work with they've got their MasterCard, their American Express, their Tesla, but their spirit is locked. They aren't in a loving vibration or truth. And so
They're
if you
running
have
on
to
like autopilot.
yeah, and so the big pain, I think, is that perception has become reality through false news media, paradigm of racism and differentiation when there's no difference. Because as I mentioned in my class, your liver is just like this girl's liver. Your spleen is exact. You are an identical soul, identical body with a soul that come in and make a decision, and you're only based on what you decide, your actions. So I'm about the oneness of the planet.
Same. I know that in my work with clients, part of what I talk about is like if you're unhappy with the external world, look in your internal world. Look at how you are relating. If we go off of the theory that we are all made from stardust, just everything in the like all of the energy, everything is created from stardust. That means that we have the universe inside of us. And a way to tap into it is by turning inward and getting curious, not judging ourselves, not shaming ourselves, but rather just getting curious about what's going on inside of us so that we can heal and continue to move forward.
And I do love that because I think that that's part of the concept of knowing yourself, which is part of the series, but then accepting yourself.
A
Because
whole
once you
different thing.
accept yourself, you can now stop projecting, accepting the other, or waiting for the affirmation from external sources. You know, like if you're happy with you look in the mirror and what the weight of the body is, or whether you smart or you're not smart, as you may say, you got to love yourself because if you don't love yourself, why would others love you when you're not in love with yourself?
Absolutely. And for me, a part of what goes along with that also is developing a sense of self-trust. I find that as we accept more about ourselves, we also start to trust ourselves more. And then we're able to, I wouldn't say do more, and I do not mean that in a productivity kind of way, but just connect more, be more in tune with the moment and in tune with everything that is all happening alongside us at once.
Right. And, to comment on that, the thing I also like to allude is that when people realize what they like or what they are, they're much more comfortable being around things that aren't them. And I always use food or relationships. So, like, let's say relationships. Someone may say, hey, I want a black man. Other people, I don't want no black people. You may say, I want a person with blonde hair, and all, that's your candy. Or food. You're like, I like bacon, but they want ham.
Yep.
This one wants marijuana. This one wants nicotine. So what I've learned is don't worry about what they're doing, particularly when you don't do it. That's cool with you. You should be very cool to be able to be what you want and not to project. And so this is another diaspora that's on the planet that we're judging on some criteria that really I call is artificial
Hmm.
instead of allowing the genuine human beings to be themselves. They dress the way they want. As long as you don't touch no one, lie or steal, I'm like, you should be able to do anything you want, go anywhere on the planet, get rid of passports, you know?
Yeah. I completely just lost my thought and I am sorry. Oh, I know. One of the things that I'm studying right now in terms of like psychology and people is the idea that when we can view everybody as humans having a human experience and coming with all of their flaws and everything that way, I think that it helps develop more compassion for the world around us in general, for people, for the environment, and also compassion for ourselves.
Humbly agree with that. Each one teach one. There's no I in team. I'll just say it honestly. I know these are
Yep.
military slogans, but once you internalize that, you can actualize that
Hmm.
and bring it into form.
Absolutely. Teamwork makes the dream work. It's, trite and true. So,
Do that, do that, do that.
so tell me, how do you personally make space for pain or uncertainty when it shows up in your life?
Well, what I do is I just accept it that it is something to teach me something better. So for instance, I have a song out called Learning How to Love While Feeling Resentment. And so what that taught me is to accept that some people may not believe in me or want to be with me. And at the same time, the pain that I come in allows me to listen to the body or my emotional state and make changes in my life. That's another song I have called Making Changes, because when you have a shift or something affects you, your body's always telling you the truth.
Hmm.
That's what I've learned. It's gonna it's gonna be honest.
Yep.
And so your feelings are real. The emotional quotient, what I call solar plexus mentality, is real. So what I did is I demoted the mind to third place. See,
Okay.
the mind will play tricks on you. It's the same one that tell you that the earth is flat.
Hmm.
And so we can look back and laugh at them now, go, they were bugging out. Everybody was.
I mean,
But the
how would they know any
emotional,
different? So,
but the emotional component is very honest. So, for instance, if I'm jealous or let's say horny or bitter or angry, see, that's a real truth.
hmm.
And then you merge that with your heart. And the heart is going to do the filter. It's going to discern that. Well, maybe, that's kind of okay because they just came in and tried to burn your house down, like for no
Yep.
reason. I understand why you're feeling upset. Okay, we can keep that. But then you click in the brain in third place and say, now execute the reaction. And so now it's controlling what I call the reactive mind,
Hmm.
like a Buddha master. He can sit and meditate and the world's going around and he's like, I'm eternal. I don't die. I'm ready for a new adventure. I'm not scared. And that's the big difference to let it play out
Yeah.
versus reacting and jumping to what someone else is projecting. And that's how I process it. So I embrace the shadow, release the gift in me. And I have an acronym I learned from the Mormon church when I was teaching back in the day. So I believe my black self was teaching in the Mormon church, if you can believe that one. It was a really good time in my life on my ascension spirituality path. It's called ABC. And what
Okay.
ABC means is admit your shit, be sorry, and change your way.
All right. Admit, be sorry, and change your
And
way.
change your way. That's how you roll through it. This is the ABCs of freedom. Because then you are being very much in integrity. That's admitting whether you have a flaw, a twitch, all these things that people
Mhm.
tell you you're less than because you are different. And then you either make a change by being sorry or be happy about that. Like I admit it, I'm cool with myself. I ain't trying to change. I like it. Or you do see, you change the way you do it if you aren't happy with it. And that's just really processing the internalization of self.
Yes. As well as, like, in my opinion, the consequences of our actions.
Exactly.
We all have emotions, and when we react to them as opposed to pause, learn, and choose to act, like that pause, that space, that awareness, that's where all of the power is, in my opinion. And then when we can choose what we do with our actions, it becomes this ripple effect. And all of a sudden, the people around us are learning how to do that for themselves as well because they're watching us do it, living through example.
Exactly. And the human being also wants to be in a co-environment. This is what I tell people is that if you were to take most people, you watch those shows, Naked in Alaska or whatever, they send them out there for 6 weeks and, 99% tap out halfway through the
Yeah.
meeting. They don't even get to the finish line. I don't care if they get $1 million because you're not meant to be alone. You cannot survive alone. Nature would just destroy you. We are not alone. And so knowing that again allows you to change how you cohabitate, whether you're in an urban environment or a
Hmm.
rural environment. You really understand that some people are good at this. And that's why I keep bringing up the ancestors. They knew you could fish, you could do thread. This one could hunt. This one could plant. This one was a healer. There was a
Yeah.
rain man, you know everybody couldn't do everything, and you would never thought you could. But nowadays we think, oh, I'm gonna do it all. I'm P Diddy, joke, you know, I'm boss man. But the reality is that you are connected. We are interdependent and interdependent, not codependent, which is a different.
There is a big difference there. Yes, absolutely. You mentioned to me before we started to record that you're working on a course. Do you want to tell me
Correct,
about
correct. So I am in the process of setting up what's called a genuine human beings boot camp.
that? Okay.
It's basically a summit where I'm bringing individuals that are in, like in your case, spiritually awakened, aware, or understanding the value of focusing on the human being as the most priceless gift on the planet now. And so the summit is going to be coming up here in July. We actually finalized the date after this call, 11 o'clock meeting, my strategy, because we're picking dates, and I want them to be specific dates. But that is to bring entities together, whether it's through relationships, whether it's through profit and business, how to live in spiritual integrity with the planet and people versus being seduced by what I call material desires.
Hmm.
And so I've taken them through a series of intensive boot camp to know everything about themselves based on their birthday. And so what I mean is that when you realize that you came out at a certain point. It's more important than just the original zodiac. So, for
Yes.
example, the zodiac tells us that all of October is Scorpios, or all of November, right? 24th or whatever. But I get the truth that we all are just like we're all American. But you can see, well, there's an Irish American, there's a German American. I mean, it gets real deep. So the zodiac is like the table of content. Oh, nationality, right? But the galactic signature is your exact print because the sun moves 66,000 miles per hour.
Mhm.
So let's just talk alignment. In 10 hours, you're talking sun is now 700,000 miles away. So it's Venus and Mercury and Orion and all
Everything
these.
in different positions and
But
yep,
think about 10 days now. Oh, it's really far away. 30 days? Oh, believe me, it's a little bit like diluted to say
eons.
everybody's back. And so the galactic synergy that I teach people, which is the intro point of showing them their new name, their fourth dimensional name, allows them to see that, oh my God, I am not just teacher, wifey, engineer, American. You're like, oh, I'm special. And you get what's called a galactic synergy that teaches you your spirit, polar family, your family tribe, and the energy that you work with on an emotional, spiritual, and intellectual quotient. And before we go, I would love to share mine with you and to share yours live with the audience because I think they can see this right away in terms of us understanding and emulating what that is.
Absolutely. And I was at a Buddhist ceremony yesterday. I was at like a Buddhist service, and I love the idea of what you were talking about with having had like kind of touched on different religious and different spiritual kind of beliefs. I personally get very curious about them, and I like to explore and see where they become similar and where they differ and what the common themes and patterns that show up in religions are. And so I think it's a very powerful background to have multiple, essentially.
And so that's another thing about in terms of me being coded for what I am is that I went through the process. I went through and graduated through monotheism and
Mhm.
went galactic. That's why I'm 215 galactic. So I was in Christianity. And then we went to Islam. My mom, went to Nation Islam, the Black Power Islam. And I was already smart, so I was like, I don't need to. I got education. I'm not worried about, I don't need to. I can get a job. So I was a little different about. I didn't get domesticated because I was like, oh, I can make money. America loves me. I got a master's degree in IT. I'm not one of those guys that say you got a felony and they're scared you can't get a job and they want to
Yeah.
say it's all blamed on the white people. So I went through that. And then I went to the real Islam, which is the one where it's the unity. I mean, it's only one race, the human, Ummah, as he calls it. Then I did the Mormon church and taught that. So I taught all that and Judaism, Christianity, Islam, and graduated Galactic. Because what I found when I summarized it, I told my pastor, I'm not worried about why you're different. Because obviously you have 17 denominations in the church. Episcopal, Episcopal. I'm like, y'all reading the same paragraph. I said, so let's talk about where y'all say the same thing. And when it measures up the same, I will authenticate that. And it came down to basically almost what Islam says. It's that you have this connection with Great Spirit. You can call it Heavenly Father, Allah, Jehovah, God, not Son, tip God.
Mhm.
And then you have to do things like charity, fasting. And that's the premise of it. Is be honest, do charity, worship in humility, and that's it. Those are the chemicals. And so when I graduated, I was able to now get connected with galactic energy that are surpassing religion because religion, as you know, is done for control.
Yep, a lot.
So
Yeah,
I was not a follower.
absolutely. So I believe you have something free to offer listeners if they want to learn more about you and what you do.
I do. I have a free offer of a free song I created, which is going to hit the heart. It's a song I did called "Earth is Hiring."
Beautiful.
Right? And it's loud. I'm sending that to everyone free in advance of the album because when you hear the song Earth is Hiring, you will literally hear from Prime Creator, our channel. And he's saying that I want you to stop cutting down the forest. All the things that we know about. I want you to live in integrity. I want you to understand, stop putting profit over people. It's all in there. All the things I've been saying to you now are literally coded in a song that I had created in 5 minutes. This is
Beautiful.
not in the studio. We mixed it and punched in and we got to get it right at the 4 minute mark. And I literally talked to the creator. I said, I want to tell you what you told me. I want to tell you. And almost like Muhammad had the whole Islam memorized the Quran verbatim, right?
Yep.
I took that download, memorized it in 5 minutes, and walked down and sang it. And all of my songs are like that. They're 5 minute recordings, which is why I know it's legitimately, authentically real. Because to say the amount of words I could say on flow is like a revelation.
Yes.
And so I'm giving that away. I'll put the link in here. It's a free song, and from there you can get into my funnel team, which means now I can offer you discounts on the classes, the boot camps, your Galactic signature reading. You just I have your contact to now offer you all of these services, and so I want to share that freely because it's freely received, freely give, and workers are worth their keep, as Prophet Issa said.
That's beautiful. And I will absolutely include the link to that in the show notes for this for people.
Yes,
If they want to find you otherwise, do you have a website or are you on
I
social media?
I do. I'm trying to be proactive on my projecting and broadcasting. So my website is genuinehumanbeings.com. So
Okay.
with an S because it's for we. So it's genuinehumanbeings.com. I have a SoundCloud link, which is 215 Galactic, my first and last name, Shelby Mott, where most of the songs are. And from those two places, you can get everything that I've been working on, the visuals. You can sign up for boot camps, the courses
Beautiful.
are offering, and the funnel will allow me to capture your email and your phone so that now I can make you aware of new songs coming out, new content, new festivals where I'm teaching, new boot camps, new classes offering. So I really hope that you would share that and that people would go in
Absolutely.
because I am in the networking of elevating.
Absolutely. Those links will also be in the show notes. We are nearing the end of our conversation, Shelby, but is there anything else that's coming up that you're like, I want to say this, I need to share this?
I would like to share you being live what I teach the first moment of my classes, and it's what's called your galactic signature. And
Okay.
what this is your fourth dimensional person that you dream at night when you put on your suit coat and you be Wonder Woman and you come back from 8 hours and sometimes most people only remember 5 seconds.
Yep.
I'm here to remind you that in your waking conscious mediumship, you can embody this archetypal energy because it is yours. It's your spirit gift given from Creator when you chose to come down and incarnate. And so all we need is your birthday, or you can look it up on your side. We can talk about it. In fact, if you look it up, then I can say it with you because I know all 260 by heart, and we'll just let you need. Now, before we do that, I'm gonna tell you mine so you can see how like authentic it is.
Okay.
So I learned a few years ago that I was what's called a Kin 215 during 2012. And that is a blue resonant eagle. It's
Okay.
number 215 of 260 with the color blue, which is from red, white, blue, yellow, and then tone 7 of 13 tones of creation from the 13 Mayan moon calendar. And then the solar sign of an eagle. And so now I'm this in addition to all these other matrix jobs I am, a matrix career. So tell me if you resonate with seeing this from the time we met in the call and now. Quote, I channel in order to create inspiring minds, and I seal the output of vision with the resonant tone of attunement, and I'm guided by the power of accomplishment. When I learned that, it was an eye opener for me. It was a
Yeah.
defining moment that allowed me to have refining results in my actions versus confining consequences because I was living in that energy in
Yep.
addition to all the other stuff. So I will be on to share with you if you go to lawoftime.org / decode.
All right.
So it's a lawoftime.org / decode. And you put your birthday in there. Boop, boop, boop. It's going to tell you you were born on this day in the Mayan moon calendar, born on such and such moon, and then it's going to say you are this, and we'll have a color, tone, and seal. So what I like you to do is when that pulls up, tell me what the number is and the name of the color, tone, seal. And then we're going to read that together for your audience. And then I'm going to have you reflect on how accurate that is based on the true birthday. You will be amazed. This is not me. I don't have to teach what is. It's who you
Yep.
are. It's literally like someone looking at you and saying you're a female. Yeah, they are. You're like, of course I am. But
Yep.
these things we don't know that we are right now.
Yep.
So let me know when you're ready.
I am ready. I put it in. It says that my birthday is on the 13 moon calendar, electric moon 8, year of the blue overtone storm. My galactic signature is KIN 42,
Okay.
electric, a
Let's
white electric
win.
wind.
Yes, ma'am. So I know what that is. Let's break that down together. We're gonna say it together to prove my
Okay.
point. I don't have to see it. So it'll say I activate. You ready? Let's together.
Oh, wait, the tech. Oh, yes. Okay.
All right. I
Yep. I
activate
activate,
in
inform,
order
to
to
communicate,
communicate.
bonding breath.
Bonding breath. I
I feel
feel the
the input
input of
spirit
spirit
with
with the
electric
electric
tone
tone of
service.
service, and I'm
I am
guided by the
guided by the
power.
power of death.
Yeah. Now,
It's
let
awesome.
me help break it down for you so you can tell the audience if I'm feeling this, right?
Okay.
Authenticity is a matter. In your life, whatever you know to this point, you already knew you were doing this subconsciously, superconsciously, unconsciously, and consciously. So ask yourself, do you activate in order to communicate? Well, the job that you're doing now is literally proving that.
Yep.
Bonding breath, meaning you saying what you want, you understand the power of communication and projecting that out. You seal the input of spirit. That is the spirit of truth and love with the electric tone of service because you realize that if you have this knowledge, it's to be shared. You
Shared.
got to give it away. And you're guided by the power of death. And what death is the transformation. That's what you're talking about. How do you embrace your shadow? How do you become who you are, but not be the same person you were? And that is where the death is. Death is opportunity is often disguised as loss. It is a new beginning, not an ending, not a destruction, but a rebirth, like the cocoon and the flower and the phoenix and the butterfly effect.
Yes.
So I know who you are literally now, my dear, because I know all 260. They're part of my team. Electric winds are great.
Yeah, and what I'm getting from it when I read it is that in the past couple of years, I have fully realized that I have a lot to communicate, and it's been me understanding how to articulate all of this information and everything that's inside of my head. So it feels very on par with everything that I have been going through. And when I hear about the power of death, to me, what that says is how to like live alongside uncertainty, right? Because like none of us make it out of this life alive. That is just that's how nature works. That is the secular cycle. That's just that's what it is. And especially lately, and the whole reason I started this series is to learn how to live alongside uncertainty and not
Gotcha.
need to push it away, not need to push away discomfort. Like, how can I accept that they are part of the human experience?
Right. I think that's beautiful. And the funny thing is, the bonding breath is what you had mentioned. You knew you were here to activate in order to communicate. But what you figured out in your maturity is how to bond that breath because you're gonna make your voice known, you make your power known. And I love how you actually or internalize the death part because again, that's always tough because people hear death as a negativity thing
Yeah.
when it is the transition to a new opportunity. Do not be afraid. You're going anyway. And you came out alone. You're going out alone naked, and you don't know when and what time.
Yep.
It's that's just nowhere. It's
Yeah, we
when
have no
time over.
control.
Have no clue, which means just embrace it. It's coming, which means do better with what you have now because tomorrow's not guaranteed, and
Yep.
yesterday's certainly over.
Absolutely.
That
Well, yeah, thank you so much for being here and sharing your perspective. I am a big fan of anything that helps me understand myself more. And so I love putting in on that website, and I'll share that in the links as well so that people can put theirs in. And as anybody listening can tell, Shelby really knows his shit when it comes to reading those things. Like he could
thank
recite
you.
it alongside me, which was amazing. So
Love it, love it, love it. And
beautiful.
I do have your contact. I want to send that to you because I didn't put it in the
Yep,
chat. You want me to email it, or would you email
yep,
me again? And I'll just reply
yep.
back
We'll
with all
talk
the
all
links.
about that here in a couple minutes. I'm going to
Okay,
sign off. So, for people listening, if you want to connect with me or find out more about my coaching services, you can find me at followthedopamine.life, on Instagram at followthedopamine.life, or over on Substack at followthedopamine. And if this conversation sparks something in you and you want to explore what it means to be human with me in all of its bittersweet mess and beauty, I would love to hear from you. And until next
awesome.
time, thanks for being here. Thanks for talking with me, Shelby. And
I'm,
everybody, thanks for being you.
I'm another you. Hoorah.